Okay, welcome to the interview, everyone. This is about Brandon Powell with a company called Lean on Him Consulting. Lean on Him Consulting is a company started by owner Brandon Powell. He's a small business consultant who has a passion for all things design related. With his background in administration, graphic design, training, development, he uses these skills to not only deliver a product, but help to achieve the big picture goal of each project. Mr. Powell says, I am not quick to move forward with the project if I sense it won't achieve the client's financial, vision, or primary goal. It's more about inspiration than an invoice, Powell says. Moreover, Brandon takes a student-like approach with each client, ensuring that he listens to the details of what they are looking for in their design project. Powell reflects, my client who owns a car wash may not have the same project needs or priorities as my client owning a healthcare business. Each consultation is different for that reason. What is LOHC mission? To provide a quality product or service by bringing to life that each client's customized design project so they can make an impact. Thanks for the interview, Mr. Powell.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for reading it, the biography, and I'm just happy to be here and be a part of this process.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to have you, man. I think I met you about almost a week ago now, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's amazing how it doesn't take long before you end up start partnering together and working on other things together. It doesn't take long at all.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited about this, young brother. It just feel like when we were together, time just moves so fast because we got so many common interests. But I'm going to get straight to interview questions because I value your time. I appreciate your time here. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Well, the short version of it is I'm a small business consultant. I basically work with my clients who happen to be small business owners, existing owners, or aspiring entrepreneurs. And I work with them to try to help them make more money. There's two parts to what I do. I consult, and I also design. And in the midst of that, I include business strategies. Someone may be hearing that and say, well, what does all that mean? Well, a good example that I think of is I sat down with one of my clients who's a life coach, and she does some life training and consulting to her clients. And she reached out to me to do her logo. So I sat down with her, and we began to discuss the logo, what she needed for it. And the consulting side made me curious about her overall business. I didn't just want to do the logo. I was interested in her and her business and what all we could accomplish for her business to bring in more revenue. Well, after a few minutes of talking, we discovered that she actually has the ability to branch out and start her own clothing line. And so within 3 weeks, we had completed the design and already started the process of starting her own clothing line. So that's a day in the life of the approach that I take. I really enjoy it. We also provide the printing with clients as well on the products that we provide and design. And it's an exciting approach. It's a combination of design and consulting.
Okay, great. So how should our listeners gauge if your expertise, which is graphic design and consulting, is right for them?
Well, I think they would take inventory of where they want to go. Obviously, where their budget is, what direction they're trying to go in, what pace they'd like to go in. I really wouldn't discount any particular business owner from my services. I really like to work with small businesses. As I stated, I don't just have to work with big existing businesses. You could be a person who says, you know what, I'm tired of working at my job. I want to talk to somebody about how to start my own business. It could be as low as at that level, or it could be as high as saying, you know what, I've been in business 10 years, and I really need to look at a way to expand and grow. So because it has such a wide range, I really wouldn't say that there's someone that I would discount or say that they could or could not benefit from our services.
Okay, great. So what advice would you give someone who's brand new to a business or pretty much currently starting a business and wants to pick up their business, the revenue in their business?
Well, I'll address that in two ways. If you're a startup business and you haven't, you've been in business for, 6 months to a year or less, I would say, be sure that you are understanding your end goal, where you're trying to go, understand your industry, understand your why. Why did you go into business? Don't let it be just out of frustration for the corporate America. Let it be a total approach of what you want to, what do you want to do it for a legacy, for your children or for your family. Also, what is your mission and vision? I talk to a lot of people, and they really haven't taken the time to define that. Mission is what direction is it going? And vision is, once you get there, what will that look like once it's accomplished? So that's what I would say to a startup. Now, if it's an existing business, I probably would say some of the same things, but I would try to have them reflect and take inventory of where they are. And there's a term that I use called bottleneck. Bottleneck is when you've got a huge supply and demand challenge. Your infrastructure is not prepared to intake the volume that you're receiving with your products and services. You've got a lot of customers that are reaching out to you, inquiring, but you're just not set up and have the capacity to service them at a qualitative level. I want to emphasize that. So that would be my advice, to make sure that you are always preparing to expand so that you don't have a bottleneck situation. That's what I would say to an existing business.
Okay, great. So what's the absolute easiest way for someone new to start a business or someone who's in business? Because sometimes you may have to fire yourself, I know I have done that a couple of times and just start over. I mean, restart the process. So what are the absolute easiest ways to someone new to the business to start? Would you recommend couple ways?
I would say, determine if it's your passion. That's number one, because you're going to have ups and downs. You have to say, okay, am I doing this just to make some money, or do I really have a passion for it? Once you understand it, that makes everything a lot easier to go into. Aside from that, you want to start writing out a business plan. Do it to the best of your ability. Just lay out your goals and objectives, how much you want to make. And eventually you do want to sit down with someone that can help create your brand, because you can have the passion for the business and go out and start making sales. But eventually, once you tap out of friends and family and associates helping your business and supporting it, you're eventually going to come in contact with brand new customers who don't know you. They don't know how sweet and kind you are. All they see is your brand, and if they don't have a huge regard for it, then they're going to make a decision to purchase from you or go to someone else. So laying that foundation is probably the easiest thing you want to focus on, aside from you having a passion.
Okay. All right, here's the question for current business owners, would help new owners. What's the biggest mistake you made getting started in business?
I would say that's a good question, first of all. Not knowing who your target market is.
That's right.
I think the worst thing you can do for yourself is you get out going 100 miles an hour, and you say, if someone asks you, hey, who's your customer? You say, well, everybody's my customer. Well, everybody, in theory, yes, they are your customer. You don't want to turn anyone down. But really the question should be, who is your target market? And I've seen people overextend themselves coming up with marketing campaigns, designs. All of that should take into consideration who you're trying to appeal to. And if you're trying to appeal to everyone, then you're appealing to no one. So having a defined target market is very, very important. You say, well, who is my target market? How do I define it? Well, you probably want to pay attention to if you have any history of doing sales within your business, pay attention to who buys from you the most often. Who do you think you be a customer of your business? Think about it from their standpoint, and you have to define what customer or client brings you the most business in the most effective way on a consistent basis. And I've seen challenges come up when that's not focused. You're everywhere, you're traveling everywhere, you're at events that really don't pertain to your target market, and it really can overextend a person. They can find some success, but it can be kind of taxing on your time and your health over time.
Okay. I know some of the listeners are wondering, because they probably had something similar as a consultant as yourself, but what is the difference between you, or a graphic designer as yourself, what is the difference between you and all other graphic designers or business consulting doing the same thing that you do? What stands out?
I think that's another great question, which is another thing that I really enjoy about my approach. So I'll give you this quick scenario. If you were to, and I'm sure most people have experienced this, if you were to go get some business cards printed up, and you go to a print shop, your typical experience is going to be they want to know what information, do you have the artwork, what size, and what's the quantity. They're not going to ask you, okay, what type of business do you have, what goals do you want to accomplish, what is the call to action that you want people to respond to when they see these business cards. They're probably not going to spend very much time with that at all. They're just going to print those cards, give them to you, and you're going to go about your way. A graphic designer, most of them, a lot of them I'll say, they don't do the printing. They'll just do the design. So if you sit down with a graphic designer, they say, well, what do you need designed? Give me the content, and I'll have it for you in a couple of days. That day comes, they email it to you or give it to you, and you go on your merry way. Probably nowhere within that process are they going to ask you the consulting questions, which is the same questions. What are your goals? If we're doing a flyer, what is the color scheme that you feel is best? What is the call to action? What do we want accomplished from this flyer? Do we want people to call? Do we want them as a result to go to a website? Do you give advice in saying this, based on your industry, this is probably the best direct approach to take? All those things may not be happening in the conversation. So for me, I take pleasure in doing both. I'll sit down, we'll go over the design, and I'm really not just interested in providing a design, because what if it doesn't work? Then I'm just providing a design that serves no purpose. And I think that happens all too often. It happens way too often in my experience. So I love taking both approaches. And in most cases, I don't charge for my initial consultation, which is why most people, when they hear a consultant, they really cringe, because it's not something you can measure in a lot of cases, and you don't want to pay a lot of money to someone to consult. So I take pleasure in providing both services and making it a little bit more cost effective.
Okay, great. So this is kind of like a two-part question also. We're all human. So what's the favorite part of your day, and what's the least favorite part of your day?
Favorite part of my day is when I'm working on a new design, okay, and the concept that me and the client talked about, I'm in the middle of designing it, and I have my wow moment where I look at the design, and based on what me and the client initially talked about, I enjoy seeing it come to fruition, because I feel very confident about when I email it or send it to the client that they're going to be very pleased. That's a very, very exciting part of my day. I'd say a not so pleasant part is perhaps, driving in traffic, because a part of what I do is I'm in the field 70% of the time. I go to my clients. I go to various events and activities, and sometimes driving through traffic, it can be a little laborious because these days you're practically going to be in traffic in any time of the day. So I'd say that'd probably be my least favorite day, least part of the day.
Okay. Just done with this interview. I appreciate your time once again. But what are some realistic long-term and short-term goals for our listeners?
It really kind of depends on your industry. I do want to point that out. I work with various business industries. So one week I may be talking to a car wash owner. The next week I may be talking to a dentist office. It just really depends. I would say you get out what you put in. So if you lay the foundation right and you have a great, respectable brand, then you have the right to expect a lot out of it. And you want to measure it. I'd say you want to measure it at least 6 to 9 months at a time. And I think that's a good measuring stick. So if you started off at one phase and you implement some new strategies, give it 6 to 9 months to see how it can really come to fruition, because any changes you make, the market has to have time to get accustomed to it, to be reintroduced to it. I work with clients that they've had logos they've hated for years. And when I redesign the logo, it's not going to automatically change things. It has to be reintroduced to the market on those flyers, on the invite cards, on the social media pages. It has to have time to take its full effect, because for so long that customer or client base has already been accustomed to that brand. So I'd say that would be my advice is continue to make improvements, but give it time within 6 to 9 months to really evaluate. And you want to be growing every 6 to 9 months in knowledge and business acumen anyway, regardless of if the business is flourishing or not. That's the motto of mine.
Okay. Well, before I get to this next question, ladies and gentlemen, there's a book or a site on YouTube that you can study. It's called Law of Attraction or Law of Magnetism. This brother here, this human being, he just attracts you. He's so humble. But this is what leads to the question: who are the people that inspired you and why?
That's a really good question. For me, my background, I came up in an unorthodox background. In other words, I went through what most people, young men have went through. Didn't have the male figure in my life, so I spent most of my time observing other male figures in the positive light. When I became of age around 18, 19, I had my own apartment and went to college, and I spent a lot of time just observing positive individuals. And I learned very quickly that people make mistakes. Men make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. So what I learned to do was to extract and observe the good qualities and to make a decision within myself which ones I want to adopt. And so that has become very helpful to me. In addition to that, I believe in having constant mentors, pouring into me, educating me, encouraging me, challenging me. And in addition to that, I also mentor quite a few other people as well. I think it's a healthy balance. That way I'm being mentored so that I always am keeping things in perspective, but I also mentor others so that I don't let the faucet of knowledge stop at me. I continue to try to pour into others as well. So I'd say mentors over the years, inadvertently people that I've observed, as well as the books that I've chosen to read. I can tell you several authors, one of which is pretty popular, Jim Rohn, is a great influence, John Maxwell, great leadership books. I mean, I can go on. It's really been a joy to read a lot of the information, and not just read it, but really pour into it and write down the ideas and try my best to apply the knowledge to my lifestyle and hopefully reap the benefits of those things that I've learned. So that's really been what's helped me. And I'm enjoying the process and look forward to continue to grow in this journey.
That's solid. That's solid. Just a little tip. I don't know if you ever heard it before, Mr. Powell, but you know the easiest way to tick off a ignorant person?
What's that?
Give them a book.
I like a good way.
So keep reading, ladies and gentlemen. Something positive. Get rid of that stinking thinking. But as we wrap things up, what should our listeners be doing for the next 30 days, 90, and 1 year to accomplish their business goals?
I'd say even quicker than 30 days. I think within the next week, I recommend that they find the next book that's going to change their life. Find any book that's going to help you with personal development. I would like to challenge you to read at least a book a week. Now, for all my Harry Potter fans and Lord of the Rings fans, that's great. But what I'm referring to is self-development, personal development books that you can challenge yourself to read. Start doing that once a month. Now, if you really want to be an overachiever and get to the next level, do like the millionaires do. They read one book per week. So hopefully over the next 90 days to 6 months to 9 months, you want to be able to look up and say, you know what, I don't even think the same way I do currently as I did previously, and now I'm able to use the new knowledge to add more value to the market, be a better person for society, and be a better entrepreneur for my business.
Okay, that's solid. So what final words of wisdom would you like to pass on to everyone who's listening in to this call?
I'd say, above all things, surround yourself with positive people. I know that's a cliche. We say that all the time. But really be conscious of the amount of time you spend. You want to spend time around your target market. You also want to spend time around people that support and encourage you because it's really, really powerful. You can talk about your ideas. Over the next few months, I'm sure many of you are going to come up with new ideas. And you want to be able to have someone you can go to and say, you know what, this may sound weird, it may sound far-fetched, but here's what I have. And you want them to be able to say, you know what, I think that's great. I think you should go with it. Or they can say, you know what, I'm not sure about it, but, hey, it sounds like if you add this or do this, it may even be better. But you don't want to be around the person that just flat out, before you even finish the sentence, they say, oh, that won't work. That sounds crazy. Why did you even come up with that? Those are the individuals that you may not want to spend all of your time with. So going forward, that would be my words of encouragement to anyone listening.
That's solid. That's solid. So where can our listeners find out more about you? Well,
they can definitely visit my Facebook page. You can look us up on Facebook under Lean on Him Consulting. My name is Brandon Powell. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can find us. You can also visit our website at that's M like Mary, Y like yellow, LOHC.com. There you can see we have a design gallery. We have a full list of products and services. We offer financing to startup businesses. And we really just want to be there to add value to whoever we come in contact with.
Okay, great. Well, that just about does it, ladies and gentlemen. So, Mr. Powell, we appreciate your time. Could you repeat that information again, how they can get in contact with you before we end this call?
Yes, sure. You can reach me at my website. It's www.mylohc.com. You can email me directly at impact@mylohc.com. We also have a YouTube video. If you go to YouTube and type in Lean on Him Consulting, we have a company overview that will explain a little bit more about what we do and the approach that we take.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for coming into the call. We appreciate your time, Mr. Powell. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening in. If you got any questions, just once again go to Mr. Powell's site. He'll be happy to help you or listen in. I'm pretty sure, as he said before, the first consultation, I'm all right, is free, but value his time, and hopefully you got this information, and keep playing this 1 or 2 times, not as many times, because it's all about action. I got a saying called perfect doing, not doing perfect. So make sure you guys apply this knowledge that he's giving you. So thanks for your time, and have a great day.